Okay, great. So now we are working again on the portrait of Natalie Portman, and I'm excited to be here with everybody today. So let's get started. Where we left off, I believe, a couple of days ago was finishing up the hair, and that's where we definitely want to be, just to get the correct lighting here, and then we can go ahead and I'll show you how I finish up her hair, and then we will conclude with this live view, and then I will put together a full tutorial on this channel of drawing the portrait from start to finish of Natalie Portman here. So just give me a moment to get my reference from my computer, and then I could complete this with everybody. Let's see. And I hope everyone's having a good day. It is Thursday, and I am excited to be here with you guys, that's for sure, guys and girls. Let's see. Okay, great. And I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm still on there with you. Yep, I am streaming YouTube Live, which is fantastic. And now let's get down to working on Natalie Portman's hair. So right now I left you all off where we were blocking out certain aspects of the hair, and we're going to go back to that. Let me get a piece of scrap paper here, which is important when you get to the later stages of a portrait. Our hands could smudge, leave oils, all that stuff, so we really want to be careful not to do that. Now her hair has a lot of highlights, especially with this lighting from the reference that I'm using. And so what you have to do is, when you are painting in highlights, you definitely have to set up where the lights will be. That is crucial. And you have to clean up the graphite before you go in there. And you see I'm using this mono eraser here, and just making sure I'm accurate as to where this light is, how much dark is between here and the beginning of her cheek coming out of the darkness. The hair, we have to be very diligent to make sure that we are still being accurate with our proportions and placement of everything. So you can see how here it sort of ends before the end of this dark area of her cheekbone. So we want to make sure that we start and end it correctly. So looking here, it looks like it begins just where the eye starts. Okay. And then once we make that adjustment, we realize we have other adjustments to make. Same thing here, down by the chin, down by Natalie's chin. It goes out here, but that's only because it gets darker over here. Okay. Same thing up here. We want to set up where we're going to put the lights. And also, we can't forget her shoulder here, which is a light area, very similar to this value right there. Now, we're not just going to leave it as this flat plane because it's something that's going, it's three-dimensional and is being affected by the light. So we can't just leave this as something, just this, you know, kind of smooth area. That doesn't look real. And it's not being true to what we're actually painting or drawing. So we have to make sure that we do that. That's very important. And I'm going to go get my 6B pencil and some of my stumps, which are crucial in getting this technique together in painting and drawing hair. And today we're drawing, but I know I often say painting and drawing because I think the two are pretty much interchangeable. You're solving the same problems. I think everyone who paints should draw, and everyone who draws should paint. I don't believe that that the arts should be exclusive. One helps the other immensely. So please make sure that you are all drawing as much as possible. Another thing is, what's more portable than drawing, right? I mean, the ability to go ahead and work on and honing your skills of observation. So definitely it is in our best interest as artists, painters, draftsmen, sculptors, to draw as much as possible. Just in our best interest. And you see, I'm just setting up the lights, putting in these mid-tone areas. Now in the drawing, in the photo that I'm working from, there was an ear here, just an indication of her ear, but I think that's distracting. So as an artist, I have the ability to omit that. Okay. Now looking at this, I can see that this is way too far close. So I am going to remove this. And we have to have our critical faculties. We have to realize that, you know, when we see a mistake, we don't compensate for it, we correct it. Okay. This is more like it, right about here. And then we'll adjust. So, like I said, this starts probably before the eye. And then it ends just around where this cheekbone shadow is. It's like a piece of a puzzle. We have to make sure that things fit into place. Because if we draw things in isolation, they won't be in proportion. We'll lose the likeness, and we'll just lose the sound drawing, or painting for that matter. So be tough on yourselves. Be tough on yourselves in the sense that you constantly look to see what you can do better, what needs to be corrected. Of course, still setting up the lights and the darks. Setting up these highlights by getting rid of the graphite. Now what's interesting is there's this little shaft of light right here, which is beautiful. I'm going to keep that because it describes the form of her hair as it follows, this part follows the contour of her cheek. It works. So let's make sure whatever works we keep. And of course looks like I went a little too close. But you see how I'm constantly not trusting my eye at first and adjusting. Okay, so you see that? Now pretty soon I'm going to start to set up the highlight, put in the highlights of her hair, and then adjust it with the highlights, then go in with the midtones, go into the lights and the darks, and back and forth to create depth in Natalie's hair here. Okay. There's a lot of things going on over here as well that we're going to address, some of these darks. And then once we address the darks, then we can come in, poke out where we're going to set up the highlights, and then go in like that. So let me just reshape this. And like I said, there's an ear here, but I don't know. I just don't want that there. I don't think it describes the form. My own personal opinion, my feelings. Compositionally, I don't think it's a strong move to put that in. So I'm coming in with the 6B. And like I said, I am putting up a YouTube video of this from beginning to end. Actually, almost the beginning. Kind of a funny thing, not really funny. When I was beginning with her eyes in the beginning of the portrait, I was videoing, doing a digital video recording of it, and I was using my Canon T5i. And unfortunately, I left it on manual focus. And when I finished, like the first, let's say, half hour of footage, I realized it was out of focus. So we'll probably start where I did the eyes, and then we'll see everything else, which is still very good. Okay, so now let's get down to setting up these lights. Now, over here on the edge, it is very light, almost white. So we're just going to come over here, paying attention to where this highlight ends, which is probably right about where her nose is, and then it gets softer. Over here, there's a light, but it's very faint in relative to that. So we're just going to, but you see how I sort of cleared the way first and cleared the way of the graphite. Otherwise, if we put this white pastel on the graphite, trust me, it's going to be disgusting. It's going to leave this bluish, horrible tone that just looks amateurish. So like chess, you want to set things up. You want to You want to do maybe 6, 7 moves ahead if you can. If you can't, do 3 moves ahead. But definitely think ahead. Don't just go in. When you're drawing, think like a painter. When you're painting, think like you're a draftsman. Think like you're drawing. Okay. And I like the way this sort of works out here. And we come in with our mechanical pencil, remember 0.5. Now I'm by myself, so I'm unable to see any comments just yet. But if you do leave a comment or question, I'd be more than happy to answer that for you right away. And see, we have sort of a staggered light here. It does not hit the hair even because the hairs are not even. There we go. I love the paintings of Johannes Vermeer, and you can see how he's a master of light in the sense that he knows that light doesn't fall perfectly straight on everything. All light rays are straight. They move in straight lines. They bounce in straight lines on smooth surfaces. But on surfaces that are not smooth, such as skin, you'll see that it bounces off of surfaces in different directions depending on the direction and pitch of the surface. So that's definitely true when painting hair. So let's make sure we stay true to that right now as we are working on some of these light areas. See how I'm staggering the light. And the purpose of this video, this live feed, and also doing the portrait demonstration is to help you out there be more confident with the hair, to attack the hair with confidence and careful planning. But careful planning, not to the point where it gets in the way of your creativity, but careful planning in the sense that you are aware of what's going to happen and you're compensating for that. Now bear with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly check and see if the live feed is working. So I would hate to be doing this and everyone being like, oh, it's stuck, and I would be sad, so I don't want to do that. I want everyone to get as much out of this as possible. And let's see, I'm looking, and I'm just gonna hit refresh and see if the live feed is working. If it isn't, then all this is for naught, and I definitely don't want to be going further with the I definitely don't want to be going further with this demonstration because I can't go back. So I'm looking at my video manager here, and okay, I don't see I don't see it live, so bear with me. Don't go away. I'm just going to check my tablet. Let's see. Let me check my cell phone here, and we'll go to YouTube and see if it's working. Okay, very quickly. YouTube. Okay, I think we're good. Let's see.
Who designed this store? I did.
Okay, great. So we are live. So that makes me feel good. And so let's go ahead and make this happen. All right. Thanks for your patience. I hope you didn't leave. But let's go ahead and continue. Now I feel good that, you know, I'm not doing this and no one's seeing it. So that's good. All right, so let's go ahead and start hitting some of these darks in here. This sort of variation of value. And that's what's going to give us our illusion of hair. And you notice that there's not straight line, it's not spaghetti. And that's such a mistake. I mean, it looks neat when we do those like spaghetti hair, you know, everything's all in straight lines and, you know, but I don't know, I've never seen straight hair like that. Hair is very unpredictable in the sense that what direction, even if you have the best hairstyle and the most hairspray, it's still going to be going in different directions. So you see how actually going into the hair, I'm giving it texture. Now, texture is just paying attention to the shape and direction of the hair. That's all that is. Texture is no magic formula of how to get texture of skin, how to get texture of anything, right? It's just paying attention to how the light is hitting the object. Each object has a different surface, so of course, with a different surface, the light's going to react to that differently. And so in paying attention to the reaction of the light to the surface, we actually create the surface. Okay, see that? So right now we are painting hair, but we are not painting hair like. I'm not thinking about this as hair. I'm just thinking about how the light is reacting to this surface here. Now the light is reacting to this surface a lot different than it's reacting to the surface of her cheek, surface of her lips, surface of her eye, because they all have different surface texture. So they're going to bounce differently. Okay, so now one of the reasons why I'm doing a celebrity right now is, of course, I love Natalie Portman. Who doesn't? She's amazing. But it's a lot more people will find this video, and my motive is to help as many artists out there. So doing a portrait of Natalie Portman serves to actually reach more people, and in that respect, it's important to me. So if you guys guys and girls, if you think this is cool, please do me a favor and share it on social media, so other artists might be able to see it and help them to make better drawings. And, you know, hit the like button if you can. If you can't, you're at work or whatever, it's all good. I'm just glad you're here. But if you can do that to help me, that would be cool too. I'd love that. So I'm going to do another one of these you guys and girls out there, who would you like to see a portrait of? Would you have any requests? I'll be more than happy to consider it. If you know someone who would make a celebrity that would make a good portrait, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so right here we have something happening here, like it's very interesting. This is just above her eye. So I think I went too high here, and this is what I'm saying about how we have to be critical of our decisions as we are working. So this probably stops right about here. I went too far. And then we're going to extend this dark. And that helps. All these different things are actually going to contribute to make a better picture. So we have that. Let me get this paper. I don't want to get graphite on my hands and transfer it onto other parts of the drawing. There we go. And then we'll just extend this light as it comes up over here. There we go. Okay, and it's all the tools of the trade, it's make sure that you know your tools, what tool is best for what, and continue using them. Draw as much as possible. I did a series of drawings called my Train Girl series, and those are really interesting. I did them while commuting back and forth to work. I used to work at Amazon.com, and I had to take the train every morning. So that was like an extra 45 minutes that I wasn't in my studio. So I said to myself, why don't I make that work for me? So I created this little portable drawing studio so I can just put it on my lap. And you could see those particular Train Girl series drawings. I think there's 15 of them on my website, paintedglyphs.com. So check them out. And I use this technique too, so I'm able to do some pretty cool techniques, pretty intricate things being mobile using these tools. And of course, coming in here, and this is a little bit thicker, but you see how I'm sort of sculpting and shaping the lights. And I'm not really worrying about individual hairs right now. All I'm looking at is shapes, proportions, where they are. All this helps. So think of hair as just big shapes. And also think of the texture of hair. Think of the sort of the randomness of hair. And don't look at it as something that is smooth and everything going in the same direction. I mean, let's just look at our own hair in the mirror, and we can see that even when we comb it, there's hairs going here, hairs going there. Some hairs are facing the light, some hairs aren't, and all that is a contributing factor to what it looks like. So there we go. You see I'm setting it up. setting up the highlights by clearing it, clearing the graphite, because as I said, it's pretty ugly when you put graphite, pastel over graphite. Pretty ugly. You always want to keep your pencils sharp as possible. I always have my trusty pencil sharpener here. Always make sure that your pencil sharpener, and especially something like this on the road. I draw a lot on the road, obviously not today, but make sure that your pencil sharpener has something that you could go ahead and it takes the shavings for you, so you don't have to deal with that. Also, make sure that it has a metal blade, and this is all metal, so that's perfect. Plastic blade is not going to do it. It won't sharpen for you, and it definitely won't work for long. So definitely a metal blade, something that contains the shavings, so this way you're not worrying about that making a mess, and you're just worrying about having fun while you're, you know, maybe in a waiting room or on the bus or subway or tubes or whatever. So you're able to work. And you know how we artists are, right? You guys are the same. You know, you feel guilty if you're not working or drawing, and you have that satisfaction. It's like, yeah, I practiced today. That's always very cool. Okay, so we have this sort of dark area here, and then make sure we just see it's broken up, right? It's not like this straight hair, and that looks much better when we do it that way. Okay. So here you got like a brilliant light here, and then it's sort of, we still have the light, but it sort of calms down because it's not facing the light source. The light source, S-O-U-R-C-E. Forgive my New York accent there. And little by little, we are sculpting the hair. We started out with large shapes, right? And then we are just sort of plucking out the lights, putting the darks in, going back and forth until we find that, you know, that mix that really gives the illusion of Natalie's hair. I love this, the mono. It's by Tombow, and I think this is the 0 round. Beautiful. Please get it, guys. It's really great. And later I'm gonna, in the description, I'm gonna put this particular video on the channel, this live feed, and in the description field I'll leave some of the links. Also, if you go to one of my past videos, which is underpainting. No, the folds. The one with the folds. Now, in that description field of that particular video is the links of all the pencil materials that I use. So you can just go quickly on Amazon and purchase them, which is cool. If it helps, right? I mean, I get a slight commission, but and I do say slight, I mean slight, but you guys and girls are able to get the materials that you need. You can follow along, especially coming up. Maybe today, I know I said that I was going to get the full demonstration video today, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I have to go to my nephew's graduation ceremony. So that might cut into whether or not I can get it up today. But I think it will go up tomorrow. See how we can also do some nice dark. In the dark, we can do some strands of hair that sort of straggle out. And, you know, with different variations of value. See that, how it's working out. Same thing here. There is a trailing light, which is right here. And you know what? It's not parallel. You don't want everything to be parallel. Pay attention to angles, especially hair. Hair is not an afterthought. Hair is definitely part of the mix of making a successful portrait. See how that sort of staggers, just this little hair right here. Now, I've been drawing portraits my whole life. Well, I would say since I was like maybe 14, seriously. I've been, you know, fooling around as a little kid, but as far as portraits, I've been doing it since I was like 14 years old. So, you know, give yourself a learning curve, keep practicing, but drawing portraits is one of the most rewarding things that most rewarding subjects that you could draw, I think. So stick with it. And if you have any questions, please, you have this channel here. Please send me a comment. I'd be more than honored to answer any questions, you know, definitely. So don't be shy about that. I love helping out fellow artists. So it's really cool how we could just very slowly but surely create this hair texture. I was saying in the last live feed that hairlines and where the hair is and the angles of the hair in relation to the face is crucial to getting a likeness. Absolutely crucial. So let's make sure we always remember that, you know, I remember when I was studying, a lot of artists would just create the hair as an afterthought to the portrait. But it really is not an afterthought. It really is absolutely crucial. Just going to do some of the darks here. And of course, in doing the darks, we're setting up the highlights. Doing the highlights, we're setting up to have better lights. And we want to make sure we have the darks, the midtones, and the lights. That's what's going to give volume. And there we go. Just working that out. Whoop, I moved it. Let me make sure I didn't move it too far. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. I don't want my friends out there to miss anything, but you can see how Natalie's starting to come together, and you can start to feel the hair. And let's go back in and sort of work on this sort of large dark area here. And then here we have this beautiful dark value. Now always remember that when you're drawing Think as if you're painting, same thing. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some really nice strands of hair in this dark area, and there's some strands of hair in this area, and I'm just going to set that up as well. It can get confusing and daunting. Just stick with it, right? Just like the video I did last week, I did it on folds. These while they're still baking, right? We gotta wait till they finish. Same thing when drawing the hair. Now, as you can see, when I see things that are a little out of the ordinary, like that aren't exact, that need attention, I have no problem going back into, let's say, the eyebrows or the eye or the nose. I have no problems with that. You want to keep moving around, because when you see an area that's correct over here, then you could notice like, oh, okay, there's an issue going on with the eyelashes or eyebrows, and that helps you to, gauge everything. Every element reacts and is affected by other elements in placement. If one placement is off, it's going to affect everything like a puzzle. Everything, and you start becoming more correct, things start sort of coming together, same, in the sense that things start fixing itself. And with hair, you don't have to be exact, right? I mean, don't feel bad if it's not exact. That's all good. There we go. Okay, so up here, that beautiful light, but it's smooth, the surface, and the pastel sort of creates this sort of rough texture. So let's smooth that out. Remember, we want to use the stump that is dedicated only to the white pastel, and that's crucial. If we use the same stump that we used, like this one that we use for the graphite, I put that on there. Remember that blue disgusting color that happens will be the same, so definitely don't mix the two. And I just did, not thinking. So I'm going to get a brand new stump that is dedicated to the white. Let me get that. That is also in the description field in my portrait, actually my demonstration of folds, which is the video I did last week. So you could purchase that from Amazon. These are crucial. Once you start using them, if you haven't already used them, you're going to be like, where were they my whole life? And why hasn't anyone told me about it? Okay. And you see, forgive there people outside are mowing the lawn, so that's always fun. So please forgive the distraction. But I wanted to do this demonstration at a decent hour that everyone has the opportunity to see. Now remember, um, in the photo, the background is as dark as, the darkest dark in the hair. But I don't think it works as well in a drawing, especially on tinted paper. So I like to have the tinted paper value showing, so it helps the three-dimensional quality of the work. So with that being said, we want to get rid of this highlight, this dark outline over here, because it doesn't work. See that? It just works much better. We want to smooth it out though. And then we can go in and do those like really nice little lights. The strands of hair come out like that. The finishing touches, they look really sharp. And we just want to make sure that the values, the big values in the picture are pretty much working. So we have the light areas, the mid-tone areas, and the dark areas, and then like the individual hairs, what's going on there. There we go. Come in with our 6B. 6B helps us to get those really beautiful darks. Without the darkest darks, the lightest lights, the highlights won't work. So make sure you have the full values, your darkest darks, your midtones, and your highlights. Without those three, your work's not going to translate from far away. And that's what you want. You're going to show your work on a wall one day, and it's going to be against all this other paintings and drawings. You want your particular painting or drawing to actually come and get visually the viewer. You don't want them to be able to walk away and say that's nice. You want them to stop. You want them to be enthralled. You can do that by creating high contrast and variety of values, variety of edges. There's also a video I did on edges, so check that out. And that is a pastel that I'm working on, and I use airbrush for the edges, but that applies for everything. So the lesson on edges is very important, so make sure you check that out if you have an opportunity. It will help you to make stronger drawings. See if I could set up some of these little strands of hair. Let's go. Just like that. Let's set up some more strands of hair. I'm really using this this mono eraser a lot. I go through refills. Try and use your art supplies as much as possible. I think it's a badge of honor when you need to buy new art supplies because you use them. Don't be too precious with the art supplies. Does you no good sitting there pristine in your studio or your closet. Use them. Get more. Okay, great. So now I can see as we're getting probably right around here, there's some lights from this group of hair coming in. See that? So little by little, we are sculpting the hair. We are creating texture. We're paying attention to the light and dark areas, the larger shapes. Speaking of larger shapes, there's this right here, which is probably right about, let's say right about here. And then this comes out a little further. I mean, these could be like just little minor adjustments, but I think they're important. There we go. So I really hope that, this is helping you, maybe giving you some ideas on how to approach hair in the future on your own pieces. Please leave a comment if you can. Let me know what you think about hair. Are you able to do hair? Has it been something that's been an issue that you want to do it better? That sort of thing. I would love to hear. Or maybe how you handle it. I would love to hear that. Now we're going to continue with this hair a little further. Let me see how it's looking for you guys and girls. Okay, I'm really liking the way the hair is looking. It has nice texture, it has volume. It also describes the shape of her head, and we can go further. But before I go further, let's go ahead and work on this shoulder and see if we could add some volume to her shoulder there, not just this, sort of abstract shape. So let's go ahead and work on Natalie's shoulder here. Now looking at this, I can see that it's not a hard edge, that it's a very soft edge. So I'm just going to make sure that this is not a straight line. Sort of come in here a little bit. And once we go further into Natalie's shoulder, it's going to help describe her form and let us know exactly what's happening and how this shoulder is being affected by the light, just like everything else, just like the hair. So we have a slight texture here, sort of the way light bounces off skin, which isn't always so smooth. It's going to bounce off and you're going to get a variation of values. And that's what's happening here. Make sure. I'm so sorry that you're seeing a little bit of a shadow area from my hand and pencil, so I do apologize about that. But this will definitely give you an idea of my approach to what seems to be a flat area, but really isn't. And also, like I said, make sure that this shoulder is not just this hard edge shape. So we have this white pastel, and there is a little light area here. We're just going to kiss it right here with this pastel pencil. So one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, or these videos, is that my art education is pretty extensive. I had the blessing of being able to study with some of the greats, such as Harvey Dinnerstein and Ron Scher, Erwin Greenberg, Max Ginsberg. And so I want to share that, right? I don't want that to just be with me or the students who study with me privately. This is a way for me to get that late 1980s education, art education, to everyone. People in the UK, the Netherlands, South America. That makes me happy to be able to share that with everyone. And also, you know, a lot of this knowledge came from those great teachers and those really nice art schools. However, a lot of it came from trial and error, especially this paper that I love so much. It's by Dale Rowney. It's called Cranford, and it is actually its color is called gunmetal. Now it's smooth, but it's not smooth like, let's say, vellum or anything like that, or Bristol board. This is you can see it. I still can get a texture if I want, or I can smooth it out totally, so I can manipulate this. Now the great thing is it does accept pastel and graphite very nicely, but also with these stumps I'm able to manipulate the values and get some areas that are, you know, a little lighter, such as right here, and, you know, smooth out the edges, and that's pretty nice. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and come back with our 6B, and then we can be a little more committed into the shape here and make sure we get that really nice dark. The camera that I'm using, it is the Logitech webcam. I believe it's the 930. It is fantastic. I use this for all of my, you know, rants when I'm talking about art on my videos. I also use this for, you know, the aerial shots, because it's very light and actually goes on top of my light, the desk lamp. So definitely recommend this. The 930. It also comes with I think a free trial of XSplit, and I'm using that program to do this live broadcast. So those artists who are thinking of doing, and it's HD, and I think it's going 30 frames per second, which is pretty good for a webcam. Now this is really good. You can use this not only for doing YouTube videos, but if you Skype your family, your loved ones, it's much better than the ones that come with your laptop. So it's only like, it cost me like $65 USD. Not bad, not bad. So if you get a chance, please get it. You will really love it. Now, I'm not being paid by Logitech. I just love that product, and one of my happiest purchases. So you see what I'm doing now, since I'm happy with the with the texture of the shoulder, now I can come back and start doing these straggler hairs. And we just got to make sure we don't get too busy. There, just give some nice interest there. Okay. Now if we go over here, we can definitely make sure that this shape is correct. And see how everything's sort of like it's a puzzle, it's all fitting together. And as we work, we're able to be more accurate with the different shapes and see this like little straggler hair here and this large shape hair here. We can even work on this edge here, and I can see that I was a little off. Now it was okay before, but it's for our own satisfaction, right? We wanna be as accurate as possible. We don't wanna cut any corners. Believe me, my first inclination is to say good enough, but I have to fight that. There we go. This little hair there. Now all these like little hairs that you see here and there, they're going to help describe the form of her skull. And so it's like the hair is sort of following, being affected by the hair as it's wrapping around her head. So it's really important, a lot more important than we think. And just like before, we're going to stagger the light here. Okay, so let's move on over, get some really nice individual hairs here. Here we got an individual hair coming right across. And of course we can set it up, like I said, getting rid of the graphite and then just coming with this. There we go. Sort of. Let's go on this side. We can get a little cute with some individual hairs. Same thing over here. And we don't want to make Natalie look messy, so we just want some indication hairs. Even though there's a lot going on here, we still want to flatter our model. Flatter our model with still being true to her and her image and what makes Natalie an individual on this earth. Now before I'm done, there's an issue I have with her nose, and we're going to address that together just to make sure that whatever's not sitting right with me, the way I drew her nose, I just want to make sure that I'm 100% okay with it. Now there's some hairs that are short, some go. We got some hairs here that extend all the way down. See how we create some interest there. Same thing with over here, right by our eye. There's some interesting hair edges there. Starting to become happy with her hair. I mean, we can definitely go further into it, and we will, but that will probably be in my video. I'm going to finish it up, put that in the video. But yeah, you know, we can always go back in here and work it, but you can definitely feel and see my thinking process of going from the broad to the specific, from the large areas to the small areas, and working on our edges and highlights and all of that. So definitely I do love the way the hair is coming out. It's like, but you know, if I was to judge the hair, let's say 25 minutes ago on this side, I'd be like, oh my God, it looks horrible. But we're not going to do that. We're going to just continue working with it, working back and forth, and you know, making sure we are patient. So we really got a good feeling about her hair right now. So let's go ahead, because I don't want this live feed to be too long. I appreciate those who have stuck with this. Thank you so much for, you know, paying attention and watching this live view. Encourages me to do more, definitely. And if you could subscribe, please do that. That will encourage me even more. Okay, so just working on the hair. Now, like I said, the nose was kind of weird for the start. And so here, the nose, the value, right here, comes up. This little dark area. What's interesting, we're going to go in with the white pastel, but let's sharpen this because we always want to keep our tools sharp. We want the point, the exact point we're looking for. We want to be able to be real precise if we need to be. And if you want to be loose, you can always use the side, but always have that nice point if you can. Anything to help you, right? Anything to help your situation. Create better drawing, a better portrait. Who knows, maybe Natalie will see this. I hope so. I hope she sees this. Stranger things have happened on the internet, right? But more importantly, I'm glad you're seeing this. Go ahead, use our white stump here, or the stump dedicated to the white. There, see. Of course, this is our Kneaded Eraser. That's K-N-E-A-D-E-D, eraser. Called that because you can knead it into the shape you want. And also, this is really cool, if you do this, it actually is self-cleaning. So, how cool is that? Wish my car was self-cleaning. Alright, so, we can knead it in. Then we can try and get that dark shape just by her bridge of her nose. And I think here is where I sort of went astray. Right here. There we go. Now, that feels like Natalie's beautiful nose. Go back with the white, sort of sculpt the nose and sculpt this light right here. Then we'll, like, the nose is not smooth, it's skin, but it is smoother than other parts of the face, so it's going to be a little more reflective to the light. So when it's reflected, meaning it's going to have more of a highlight. Then we can also see that the shape of the nose in relation to the highlight, and you see she has a much thinner bridge of a nose. And like I said, you know, doing the pieces of the puzzle, we'll all see that it starts looking more like her. And don't get discouraged if you don't get the likeness right away. It takes time. It takes time to put the pieces of the puzzle together. There we go. Now we can continue with this light, this highlight here. So make sure you look at the distance between the highlight and the darker area over here. That's going to help you. It's going to help you gauge whether or not you're correct in a depiction of that light. And it's just, I mean, really, you're just going to dig in a little bit to get that nice highlight right there. But don't make it just sit there, sort of fade it out. There we go. Same thing here. Sort of do these little dots. There we go. Now here is going to be your lightest light, which is the reflection on the pupils of the eye. That's your smoothest spot on Natalie's portrait here. So you want to make sure that you depict that correctly. Always pay attention whenever you put a mark down. It's easy just to sort of, oh, you know, having fun. All of a sudden, you lost the likeness that you worked so hard to get because you're not paying attention to this finishing touches here. But you see how the white works so perfectly with the tinted paper and the graphite? Isn't it great? I mean, it's great the way these tools work together. And it's a very different look with the tinted paper. It's not your average drawing. And also this gunmetal is perfect because it's like a mid-tone. So you don't have to worry about hitting these mid-tones, right? It's just works out. And just makes your life easier. I'm all for making your life easier. I mean, it's not a shortcut. You still have to solve the problems of the values, proportions, and everything, but it does make your life a little bit easier. And what's wrong with that? The edges of the eye are a little fuzzy, you know, of the iris there. So let's make sure we're not too sharp. So we're just gonna just fuzz out that edge a little bit. Helps give the impression of a watery eye, which really helps. And like anything else, we're going to be working back and forth. We're going to be working on the hair again. We're going to go into the forehead. We're going to just, you know, make sure that we're really describing the form, how everything on her, you know, her nostril, her nose, her lips, her bottom lip, this eyelash here, eyebrow here, everything is being affected by the light, but in a different way because it's a different item, a different feature on her. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to the variety here. And in relative, what's relatively light, what's relatively dark, what's relatively smooth, what's relatively rough. Those are all aspects that are going to help you create a beautiful portrait of your subject. So you want your portrait to look like a work of art. You don't, you know, that's the most important thing. This is a work of art. So you definitely want it to look elegant. See how we're shaping everything, and we're staying away from any really smooth, well-defined areas. Everything sort of bleeds into one another. Of course, we have our stump, and we could shape that light. All right, so I think right now we're going to stop here, and I really hope that this was pleasing to you guys, that you learned a lot. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to pretty much, you know, solve everything and put this video up most likely tomorrow. And this way you can see her from the beginning to completion. Do me a favor, if you're watching it live, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that if you haven't already. And if you're watching this later, please like and subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So we're almost there, 917. So thank you so much for being here with me. I am going to work offline right now. I hope everyone has a great Thursday and take care.